Hello, yes I can, and if I can just introduce myself first. I'm Rear Admiral John Pentreath. I retired from the Royal Navy this time last year, so in July last year, and now work with Clarion Events, and I'm working on DSEI, which is obviously the focus at the moment as we are here at the end of July, so DSEI taking place in 7 weeks' time, but also on UDT, Underwater Defence Technology, which takes place in Rostock in Germany in December, having been delayed twice because of COVID-19. But on DSEI, Clarion made the pretty brave decision, I think, about 2 months ago to go ahead with DSEI as a live event. And so it's going to be taking place in the Excel Centre in London as usual in September, the middle week of September. So starting on the 14th of September and going on till the 17th of September, as I say, in Excel in London. It's very much going to be a live event. And we've got a vast number of industry partners who are taking part in it. Clearly, the situation around COVID and international travel is potentially going to limit the number of overseas delegations, but we know of some countries who will come and quarantine for 10 days if they have to, and obviously we're tied into the UK government's travel advice, and green countries can clearly come with no problem. Amber, it's still slightly uncertain whether they'll need to self-isolate or not, and obviously red countries, if they want to come, they will have to self-isolate or quarantine for the 10 days. So it's very much a live event. We're hoping for great attendance. We've got great industry attendance. We've got really good UK MOD attendance planned for this year. Because of COVID and the restrictions around that, we have been planning for many months on a virtual element to DSEI this year. And so for the first time ever, it's going to be mixed live and virtual. The virtual for those who can't make it, and it's called DSEI Connect, and it's an app on your smartphone or your computer, and you can get the content, daily content through that, but also importantly a meet me element, so you can arrange meetings and a sort of, not quite speed dating, but dating for industry, very much business to business. So it's a mix of live and virtual, but we're absolutely planning the live element is the preeminent one. Clarion is working very, very closely with the UK government, with Excel and with all industry partners, the Travel London, Transport for London, the local hotels, etc. There's still some uncertainty about what regulations and guidelines will be in place for large live events in September, but Clarion's closely engaged with all the relevant people, and we will be following all of the relevant guidelines that are in force at the time. I've mentioned the travel already, and clearly lots of people in the UK are following the travel closely as they try and disappear off on their summer holidays. It's an ever-changing situation, and it will be right up until the middle of September when DSEI takes place. And so I think all I can say at the moment is we'll be following whatever are the latest guidelines at the time. So the overarching theme for DSEI is MDI, which stands for Multi-Domain Integration, which is being led by Strategic Command, and all of the frontline commands, so Navy, Army, Air Force, have got MDI, Multi-Domain Integration, as their theme. And that's all about data exploitation, people skills, and using all of the information, sensors, data exploitation coming in order to coordinate and maximize their outputs. So with that as the main theme, the naval themes are based around industry, engagement and cooperation. It's around people skills, innovation, the future operational requirements, and those sorts of things. So it's a pretty wide-ranging series of topics under discussion, and I think will be of interest to so many people, both in the UK and from overseas. DSEI this year takes place about 6 months after the integrated review, which was the government's latest look at defence policy and foreign and overseas policy. And so with that as a backdrop, for the Royal Navy, it's all about persistent engagement overseas, so forward basing out in the Indo-Pacific region, and clearly September of DSEI coincides with the Carrier Strike Group's deployment out to the Far East, the Indo-Pacific region. And so that's clearly one theme for the Royal Navy. There's also homeland defence and North Atlantic underwater defence, which is more important today than it's been for many years, as state-on-state aggression seems to be increasing in this world we're living in at the moment. I think the shipbuilding strategy, which is an exciting development and announced as part of the integrated review, and so Type 31, Type 32, Type 26 frigates all being built and designed, supply ships for the Royal Fleet Auxiliary. So the shipbuilding strategy is going to be huge. And I think underlying all of that is the rapid technological changes that are taking place. And here we are in Portland with autonomous vessels as a backdrop. And so autonomy, machine learning, and those sorts of areas will be an underlying theme for not just the maritime elements, but also air and land as well. So, exciting stuff. And I think for the Royal Navy, really exciting as it grows for the first time in living memory, and is front and centre of the UK's defence policy. There's going to be a warship display as usual from both the Royal Navy and from overseas navies. We're still in discussion exactly who's going to be there, and I can't give you ships' names yet, but their programmes are subject to change. But there will be, I think, about 5 or so warships in the Royal Dock. And it's what makes DSEI unique in amongst all these exhibitions and conferences around the world, is not only is there the exhibition hall with industry partnerships and amazing new technologies on display, but just outside the exhibition hall is this dock with, as I say, I think this year 5 warships will be in it, and also twice daily the waterborne demonstrations, where some of the latest innovative technologies will be on display to visitors. So really exciting. Yes, they're going to be there. Yes, the demonstrations will take place, and unique to DSEI. So there are going to be many interesting exhibitors, but it would be unfair of me not to mention, first of all, seeing as we're standing here at Portland doing this interview down in Dorset, Atlas Electronic, who have been building for a number of years autonomous systems to do minesweeping and also patrol boats. And here we've got the latest officer training boats, which will be heading down to Dartmouth to train the next batch of Royal Naval officers over the next few weeks. So Atlas has been a long time exhibitor at DSEI, and we welcome them back. There are also new exhibitors who have never been before, and I'll just mention but one, Fincantieri, Italian shipbuilders, the largest shipbuilders in Europe, are exhibiting for the first time, and one of the biggest shipbuilders in the world. So that's really exciting. We welcome back all of our UK primes industries, so BAE, Babcock's, to name a few others. So it's going to be a full house, which is really exciting. There are a range of seminars and speakers throughout the 4 days of the conference, and I think for the Navy the highlight is going to be the Second Sea Lord, so Vice Admiral Nick Hines' keynote address. And I have no idea what he's going to be talking about, but he has been front and centre of the Royal Navy's transformation over the last 2 years. So we're all looking forward to hearing what he's going to talk about. Rear Admiral James Parkin, who's going to be in his first few weeks as the Director of Capability for the Navy, is going to be talking about optimising advantage and digitisation and autonomy within the Royal Navy, I think supported by Brigadier John Reed, one of his deputies in the capability areas. Rear Admiral Martin Connell, the Director of Fourth Generation, is going to be talking about the carrier strike and strike operations more generally, and very timely with the carrier strike group being out in the Indo-Pacific at the time, and we're hoping to arrange a live link up with the Carrier Strike Group from wherever they are during that week in September. And finally, I think to keep the Royal Marines and the littorals in the front of people's minds, Brigadier Mark Totten, who's the director of the Future Commando Force programme, will be talking about the changes and the future of the Royal Marines, the commando experience within the Navy, with littoral strike groups, the northern one deploying this year into the Baltic and various parts of Europe. And then I think believe in 2023, a southern littoral response group deploying out again into the Indo-Pacific and Indian Ocean regions. So 3 or 4 really interesting seminars, discussions which will be taking place, led by the Second Sea Lord Vice Admiral Nick Hine. Clarion organise a vast range of events around the globe and throughout the year. DSEI is clearly the first live event for many, many months since COVID started in early 2020. And so everybody's hugely excited by DSEI. The other one I'm involved with is UDT, Underwater Defence Technology, which has now twice delayed and moved from Rotterdam to Rostock in Germany. It was meant to be held in Rostock in the summer, but it's now being held in December, so the 15th to the 17th of December in Rostock in Germany. And that's an event which concentrates, as the name suggests, on underwater technologies, so sonars, underwater systems, be it propulsion for submarines. And so whether you're a submariner, a diver, or working on the surface and involved in anti-submarine warfare, or even working in aircraft in anti-submarine warfare, UDT, Underwater Defence Technology, is a great one to visit and full of defence experts who delve deeply into all of the topics, supported by academia, supported by industry. And as I say, in Rostock, the 15th to the 17th of December this year. So even if you don't like underwater technology, you can do your Christmas shopping there.